on my forever quest to make it more of a reliable, drivable car. V-belts to me are wearable parts at this point. Now let's go to the main drive belts. Here's the first one. Always had two on there, but no more shredding belt problems. Let's go, dude.
Star, see that out. Star, copies all, go ahead. Message to observer, Alpha 3 rounds, AT delay in effect, 3 guns.
Alright, what up guys? This thing is back into the garage again on my forever quest to make it more of a reliable, drivable car. Today, or this video's, by the title of this video, you already know what we're doing. Getting rid of these nasty V-belts. So on the stock cars are not bad, but in my situation, they do not work at all. In my situation, they don't work very well. See here, they like to chunk themselves out. See those freaking missing chunks and shit. V-belts to me are wearable parts at this point. I go through, there's two on here. I probably go through 2 or 3 sets a season, and I've had it for 5 years now like this, so it's repetitive at this point. But today, or this video, we are swapping this to Serpentine finally. So there's only one Serpentine setup that'll work in my situation, with there not being a pulley there and having the correct tensioner. I'll put a picture of what I need, of how it's got to lay out. But of having the alternator over there, no AC, I need an idler and a tensioner. So go over here and I'll show you what I got. Got an assortment of shit. So we got 92 to 94 2-3 Ranger brackets. They're the only years that bolt up to the SVO block. We have this. This is the alternator bracket. Goes in front of the exhaust manifold on the passenger side. And we got the power steering, and AC would be on top of this if it was optioned on the truck. But I got them all nice and painted up. I got this one off of a guy in the SVO Facebook group. And I got this one off of a Ranger in pull apart around me. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get off. It is way nicer now. I'll throw up some videos and images of what I did to these. I'll put them in here. All nice, sprayed, sandblasted. I used my buddy's sandblaster. Took them to work. Just hit them with an aerosol aluminum color, and then cleared over them so they're nice, and they'll look probably the nicest part of the engine bay, to be honest. Take a sneak peek real quick. Oh yeah, that'll be nice. So go back here. Like I said, 92 to 94 Ranger brackets. Got a, I believe it's called a 3G alternator. Just mounts up. It'd just be a Ranger style alternator. Ranger power steering pump and pulleys. So it's a mix. I believe it's all turbo coupe pulleys. So you got the crank, water pump, power steering, and the idler. I have a new idler in here, right there, and I got the tensioner right here. Those are alternator brackets, and just miscellaneous brackets and pulleys and shit that I took off the Ranger I pulled apart. You know, never bad to have spares. But yeah, all those going on there. I'm probably gonna end up painting those so it looks semi-decent. I mean, come on now, like, gotta at least try a little bit. But like I said, get rid of this garbage in my forever quest of making this thing more reliable. And every step or every video and thing I do, we are getting closer and closer. I went over this in my overview and suspension video, but I'll go over it again right now. Stock 86 SVOs, or all SVOs, have the intercooler right there. Obviously I do not. I have a front mount intercooler down here. Very nice. Did a very big difference in just that alone. And a clocked and ported intake. I've been carrying these around for the past 4.5 years. 2 5/8 of 14.5 millimeter. To change belts if I ever shredded one. Hopefully this is the last time I have to use these tools on this car. Let's get to it. I got the belts off. You know, I was saying they're wearable parts. Here's the alternator one. You know, just normal V-belt rub, nothing bad. I've never had a bad experience with the alternator one. Get rid of that, right? Now let's go to the main drive belts. Here's the first one. See what I mean when I said they're wearable parts? Let's go to the other one. This one's not as bad. Only a couple spots on that one. That's why I always had 2 on there, but get those out of here. Never to be touched again on this car. You will never have another one of those on there. But got those off. Let's start tearing into this thing. Get the pulleys off, alternator out of there, and we'll work on the brackets afterwards. Alright, so alternator was kind of a pain in the ass to get off. Well, it wasn't a pain in the ass to get off. The wires were. I had to cut both of them, and then the main power snapped off. Probably because the heat of the exhaust manifold right here. So, let's see here. You got main power right here that snapped off. You got ground and key on. So, on my new alternator, oops, I only need, it's technically not a 1-wire, it is a 2-wire. It is main power and key on. I'll show you. So on this one, you got main power, key on, and ground. And my new one, it's the generation after that, you got your plug. So you get main power goes to this. You put a jumper from main power to one of these. One of these gets the key on. The other one of these goes straight to here. So I'll explain that when I get there. But yeah, let's get back to tearing this thing apart and go from there. Alright, on the power steering pump, you're going to have to use a puller to take it off and puller to put it back on. Going right here. So let's go for it. Alright, finally got it off. Took a little while. It's been on there for... I tried this once a couple years ago. Didn't have all the correct pieces. Pain in the ass. I thought it was a pain in the ass, so I stopped doing it. Hasn't been off probably in 4 years. I mean, it came right off. Just gotta get it going and keep her going while she's warm. I'll start getting these brackets off, and we'll go from there. Alright, there we go. Look at that. Completely. This thing looks so skinny in there with no accessories or anything on it. Little 4-cylinder, man. Making all that steam. But got them both off. I'm gonna test fit the new ones now. See what it look like. Hopefully, I really don't want to pull the throttle body and stuff off. I'm gonna have to soon. I'm doing a throttle body on it because my eye's going bad and shit. But that's for another video. Now I'm just gonna see if I could test fit the new one on there, and we'll go from there. All right, back at it. Got all torn apart. You already saw that. But get the brackets out the back. Test fit them on here. We'll throw them on there, hopefully permanently. I stole all the mounting hardware for the alternator side. I might have to figure something out on the power steering side. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how long I need the bolts to be. I might be able to reuse the factory ones. I'm not sure yet. But let's go for it and find out. Alright, so I have the power steering one just sitting here. And it's not... The bolt holes will line up, but I'm going to have to trim off this little ear right here because it's hitting the alternator, which is keeping it from going straight on. And also, if you can see, that's the gap between the block and the bracket, and that's the edge of the intake manifold. So I'm gonna have to trim however thick the intake manifold is right there, a little square off there, and just get a longer bolt. But other than that, I believe it'll go on. It should go on there perfectly fine after that. So I'm gonna look around a little bit more on it, and we'll go from there. All right, so I took a pause and goddamn rain again. But I took a pause on fitting up this bracket because they're made for Rangers, which have different intakes, and Rangers don't have this intake bolt, I believe. So I trimmed around this depth to the block of the intake on the other bracket, and I believe I had to trim off. There's a hole. I'll post a picture right here. I have, but yeah, I believe I had to trim it off because it hits against the distributor a little bit. So I'll get back to that side in a second. But I fit up this side. Looks pretty nice in this engine bay. But Rangers also have different cooling tubes. So this one, which goes back to the oil cooler, we had to bend down a little more on this angle and a little more here. It clears the header. And I replaced this stock. It still's got the Motorcraft part number on everything. But I replaced the stock one with Mishimoto. And just had spare stuff laying around. Just made something fit. You know, it's always good to have spare sit. But fit that in there, clears nicely. Now, to finish this side, I gotta bolt it up and everything still, but I gotta redo my wires for my alternator. So I need this main power, obviously the battery, and I need this one. This is key on, and I may have to put a resistor on it, I believe, to tell the alternator to start charging. And this one, I believe, is for the voltage regulator, which the new alternator is internally regulated. So let's get to fixing that and putting this on the roller away. Bracket on, it's all tight. I have to find another alternator bolt. The spares that I have from when I took this off, they're all too short. They're about this length when I need them to be into the bracket more. When I was taking it off, I believe, I think it was just nasty rusty, so I just threw it on the ground at the pull apart because it was disgusting. From the alternator leaking onto it or some shit, I don't know. But I got this one on. I think I'm gonna take care of the wiring now and see what that's about, and maybe I'll go back to cutting the other bracket. But that's gonna take a little bit of doing because it's kind of a complex spot. So probably take care of the wiring and see what I need to connect it to the new alternator, because this just got brittle from the heat. Let's see. It's got shitty brittle plastic. So I have to put a new eyelet on this. And then I have to put a little female connector on this to go into the alternator plug. So let's get to that. Alright, so I got those stripped, but now I gotta find an eyelet for the positive to here. And positive goes into one of these, and then that white wire goes into one of these, and then one of these goes into here. So let's get to that, and don't drop it. Alright, back at it. It's the weekend. Got a belt. Got a 92-4 2.3 Ranger belt. Theoretically, it should fit because the belt drive on this should be the same. So alternator situation is I took it to work. I just figured alternator is obviously pretty important part of the car. Instead of just finding little connectors for these and this, I was like, screw it. I went to called the local parts store, and I got the connector for there, and I got the connector for there. So I'm gonna make my own harness for it. So let's get to that, and then we'll get to putting the alternator on, and then I'll deal with the other bracket. So let's get to wiring. Alright, so got the alternator mounted up. Alternator's all wired, mounted, everything's mounted over here. Got the new tensioner on, came with a new bolt. Got the Ranger crank on. I just have to tighten it in. I do have to get a new water pump pulley. The Thunderbird one and the Ranger one. The Thunderbird one's two pulleys that won't fit here. The Ranger one is too deep and it's too far out. It's like a rib out of line with the rest of them. So you have to get a 92 to 94 Mustang 2.3 liter water pump pulley. So I got that coming. But I've been working on the power steering bracket. I cut this off. This was hitting against the the distributor. So I cut that off. So I'm gonna mount it up and see how it fits. Alright, well, got that one mounted up. It's not fully mounted up. I have to get 2 more bolts for it. I need a 2-inch longer version of this, 2 inch longer than what it already is, and 3/4 inch longer than what this one already is to grab into the block and head correctly. But got it mounted up to where it's gonna be. Got 2 bolts in it right now out of the 4. Got the idler on. Like I said, that side's all done. It looks cool and nice and different. I think I'm gonna 3D print a cover for this where the AC is supposed to go. But I'm gonna get those bolts hopefully tomorrow. Go find some maybe at the hardware store or at the shop, and I'll throw in the power steering pump after that, because without it in there, it saves a lot of room to work. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get those and we'll get back to it. Alright, back at it again. Got a couple different bolt options for mounting this up. Picked them up from work. So I'm gonna finish getting that bolted up. I had to move. There's this, I believe it's the PCV or some type of thing, breather on the side of the block that comes up behind the distributor and up to the intake. And it's like a super hard hose, and this is in the way of this. So I just put a flexible hose on it. You can see right here. It goes to this guy right here, but I just put a new flexible hose on it so I can put it wherever I want. I'll hook it up tighten the bolt in there first, and then I'll hook it back up. I don't even know if it does anything, to be honest, but I'll hook it up just to hook it back up. I'll get this bolted up, and I'll put the power steering back on, and I'll go from there. Oh, I also got my new pulley. So I'm gonna paint up all the pulleys just black, probably aerosol, and we'll go from there. Okay, so before I touched any of the oh, that lens is dirty. Oh, that's better. Look at that, clear. Wow. All right, before I touched any of the brackets and bolts over there, I figured it was a good time before I put all the pulleys on to at least touch them up and make them look decent. So I sanded these and scuffed them up, just hit them with some quick whatever we had laying around. I mean, SEM's pretty good stuff, just trim black, whatever, doesn't matter. But one of the power steering one's already done that I bought, so I just want to trim, spray these up. A little touch up right there. It's good, but just touch those up so they look decent underneath the hood. Ooh, look at that thing. Nice and original paint. Nice and shiny. Just so they look decent underneath the hood. And so they could dry while I'm messing with putting the bracket on and throwing the power steering in. So now I'll get to that and see how it goes. Let's get to it. Okay, so I got that bracket all locked down. That's ready to go. So I'm getting the power steering pumps ready to go, and it is the same pump. I got a reman one, or a manufactured Ford Motorcraft one. It's the same body style and everything, except I got this for a Ranger. I wanted to make sure that I got the correct spacing and everything, so I just got one for Ranger. The only difference is for the SVO, I took the hose connector off of this one, because if you look, here it is right here. This is wide open right here for whatever style is in a Ranger. But if you go over to the SVO one, can't really see it very good because of all the fluid that pushed it out in there. But it necks down in there. So I swapped that over really easy. I just swapped it over, put the new gaskets and everything off the new one onto the new gaskets off the new one onto the one that came out of there. So I pretty much remanufactured it myself. But yeah, I'm gonna get this thrown on. This thing is still good, but since I was in here, I was just gonna change it anyway. But yeah, get this thrown on. Let's go. Okay, let's try this again for a 4th time. GoPro batteries are shit. Okay. Power steering on. Bracket on. Power steering pulley on. Belt on. Look at that. I have an actual tensioner. Wow. Oh, yeah, kind of custom. I thought it would look kind of cool. Now, let's see. But I have an actual tensioner now. Instead of my custom. I mean, it served its purpose and it served its purpose well. It's still good. But I have an actual setup. Everything looks like it's straight. Everything looks pretty straight. This belt is from a 92 to 94 2.3 Ranger power steering, no AC truck. All I gotta do, check coolant, put in power steering fluid, and start it up. And while it's running, I have to make sure the alternator is charging. So I'll get to doing that. I'll do all that stuff and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to fire it up. Alright, well, I believe I got everything. I just gotta get a voltage meter. That's not the right one. There we go. Voltage meter, make sure the battery charges, which I hopefully does. If not, I'd throw a resistor in it. Which isn't too big of a deal. I just have to take it back off and see what it says right now. 12.3. So fire it up and see what it does. Take these off just so they don't get caught up in anything. Everything's clear. Got fluid. Hopefully it doesn't overflow. Those are both tight. I didn't take anything else off. I'll close the hatch real quick. How about now? Okay, so since I changed my alternator, it's a newer style. It's the 3G, what they call a 3G alternator, compared to this car originally had a 1G. So that one is internal, has an internal voltage regulator in it, and like you saw earlier in the video. But this car originally had a 1G, which was not internally voltage regulated, which had this voltage regulator box here on the inner fender. So I was having, it was charging, it was working fine, but during the day you couldn't see it, but at night sometimes all the lights in the car would pulse. You get this pulsing to them, which I'm a attributing to there being two voltage regulators trying to fight each other of what what to do. So it is pretty annoying. So I unplugged the, it's hard to see in here, the light. I unplugged the voltage regulator box and I made this jumper. So how alternators start charging is you have your battery light on your dash, right? So you turn your key on, engine off, and you have your battery light on, which then you start your car, the battery light goes off, which then the light going off tells the alternator to start charging. So that is this green and red wire here, which with the key on, engine off, is 12 volts from your battery, which then goes into the box, blah, blah, blah. It tells the alternator to turn on. Once it sees that go out, it tells the alternator to start charging, right? So I jumped that to this blue or this orange and blue one, which used to go the old alternator. It took that signal from the voltage regulator box to the old alternator to then tell it to start charging. So I just jumped these two and it works. I'll show you right now. So let's turn this on. I just had it running, so it's at 13 volts. So fired up. Clutch, keys. There would be, that battery light would be on, but I changed the bulb in it to an LED, and I put it backwards, and I don't want to retake it all out. Anyway, it doesn't matter to me. So let's see. 14.2, baby. Again, that box is now eliminated, so I just have one voltage regulator, and it should be good to go. The only thing I might change is I might change the power steering pump back to my original one. The original one does fit. This one's making a lot more noise, even though it's brand new. It's a remanufactured Motorcraft one, so who knows what kind of shit parts they made in here. But my original one was still good, made zero noise, worked perfectly fine. So I might throw that back in here, but that's probably the only thing I might change. Other than that, it worked pretty good. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is, well, if there's anybody watching, highly doubt it, but been driving it for a while. Been daily driving it. No wear. Belt's still good. Still all on there. I'm gonna get a couple belts just to have, just in case, for my road trips, but all good on this video now. This is completely done. I'm very happy I finally did it. It was a long time in the making. Honestly, I forgot about it for a while after I found this bracket, and I kind of gave up because I was focused on other stuff going on. But now that it's finally done, I'm very glad I did it. Highly recommend getting rid of your shit ass V-belts. But yeah, another video done. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I have a lot more to come on this thing in the next 2 months. Next up is throttle body. I'm taking that to a buddy to get fixed up, because you have to weld the top intake, but I'll explain that in that video. Look out for that one. Look out for throttle body video. I got big brake setup video I gotta do. That I gotta do a little custom work on that, more than you have to on your car probably. But then I also got Holly Ford Fest coming up, and I got Foxtoberfest coming up. So look out for all those. There'll probably be some in between. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next one.